Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, Nayan. Thank you for joining us at our presentation session. First of all, we are thankful to Amita for guiding and mentoring us throughout the whole project to make it successful, and Vicky for giving us the opportunity to research about sustainable business in emerging and developed countries. This research is developed by Casey Blawal, which is me, Natasha, Yudi, and Kathleen from Deakin University, Melbourne. Now I further hand over this presentation to Yudi for the further introduction.
The United Nations has taken a new approach, Sustainable Development Goals, curated from the bottom up to ensure relevance and increase success and ensure lasting impact. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are our shared vision of humanity and a social contract between the world's leaders and the people, said UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. They are a to-do list for people and planet and a blueprint for success. SDGs are the evolution of the foundation laid by the 8 Millennium Development Goals and continue to consolidate and strengthen societal development and empowerment with a more significant focus on the environment. Sustainable businesses are on the rise and achieving positive impacts economically, environmentally, and societally. This is a complex blend of connecting stakeholders within communities and governments and ensuring actionability and impact of programs and initiatives. In India, one of the fastest growing emerging economies of the world, and the scope of our discussion today, there is a slew of trailblazing female entrepreneurs who out of necessity are green by design, sustainable and focused on creating lasting impact for the communities they serve.
Throughout this presentation, we aim to demonstrate how female entrepreneurs have participated and made great advancements in sustainable business. Specifically, we'll identify the characteristics of a sustainable business and look at individual women entrepreneurs who have created sustainable businesses in India. Finally, we've devised a strategy to encourage and support potential and current entrepreneurs through the development of a network.
While conducting this research, we sourced information in the form of primary and secondary data. We were able to virtually meet with 5 women entrepreneurs in India to discuss their business and the important work that they achieve. We consulted the wider business websites, social media, and some news articles about the businesses to gain a wider scope of what each business achieves.
The concept of sustainable development in the public has been there for a long time, but it wasn't given the significant importance. Until the United Nations conference took place in Sweden in the year 1972, the companies in the 90s were operating sustainably until they were getting profits from their operations. Once the reputation was gained, they used to cut the cost and start to adopt the same system which other companies were offering, which is without considering it sustainably. There were not enough ideas for long-term sustainable business at that time, but from the last 10 years, the awareness and understanding of sustainable development goals have increased exponentially. The emerging pressure from the audience have led the companies to adopt the plan to make their business sustainable.
Sustainable businesses are profit-driven companies who conduct their business in a sustainable way. To be a sustainable business, they must use business practices that focus on more than just profiting, but also on economic, social, or environmental sustainability. Economic sustainability is characterized by maintaining global markets and ensuring continued growth. Social sustainability involves supporting the individuals, ensuring a living wage and a safe work environment. Environmental sustainability surrounds protecting and preserving the natural resources, minimizing waste, and doing more with less. Many organizations adopt sustainable practices with the possibility of improving profits. Social enterprise is often confused with sustainable business, and while they share many similarities, they differ in a number of significant ways. Social enterprises are self-sustained, cause-driven enterprise. Their primary focus is on finding a solution to a social or environmental issue. Unlike sustainable businesses, they are not motivated by profit.
Emerging economies are typically low-income, rapid growth countries able to utilize and benefit from economic liberalization as the foundation for their growth. They are becoming increasingly integrated with the global economy and can participate in more ways than before, thanks to globalization and increased digitization of communication and commerce. The most common measures of an economy are gross domestic product, or GDP, and Human Development Index, HDI. GDP references the production output of the citizen members of an economy, while HDI has been introduced by the United Nations, measures both social and economic development. It seeks to quantify the standard of living of the participants of the economy, recognizing that economic output of a nation cannot adequately represent the quality of people living in that country. Therefore, the health of the society and the health of the environment of that country is also of importance and must be measured in a reliable and consistent way. Here are some examples of the challenges faced by sustainable businesses in developed and emerging economies. There are common issues to both types of economies, such as COVID-19, the global pandemic, and natural disasters. The key solutions to these common challenges are to focus on the initiatives committed in the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically goals related to sustainability, a stronger focus on and commitment to gender equality, and to ensure female empowerment and inclusion in the labour force.
Women have a huge influence on the social and economic development of a country and are making great strides to transform the way businesses function by implementing sustainable practices. In fact, women are more likely to support and use sustainable products. Approximately 73% of women entrepreneurs surveyed have reduced their impact on the environment through green practices. Proving how companies can benefit society both socially and environmentally is entrepreneur Vandana Suri, who founded Taxi, an exclusively female taxi driving service in Bangalore, India. Their Vandana gives women an opportunity to work, develop professional skills, and engage in good working conditions.
Sustainable advancement is based in India that aims to promote the 5 P's of SDGs, that is, people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. Its founder, Dr. Nayan, found this company to bridge the communication gap between community and stakeholders. She found out that profit maximization was the main guiding factor for the business in India. Therefore, she founded a sustainable advancement company. There are 2 main tasks of sustainable advancement, which is teaching and financially helping the disadvantaged community in India. Sustainable Advancements has created a number of training programs in the last 2 years on issues like social impact, CSR, sustainable banking, business transformation, sustainability, and sustainability lessons. Dr. Mitra, on behalf of Sustainable Advancements, is often invited by the central government and institutions and other conglomerates. She is often invited to speak about the policy intervention, and Dr. Mitra is known figure with her published books, journal papers, and articles on this subject. Sustainable Advancement is also founding secretary of Wicci, where they inspire others to join them for this mission.
Serial female entrepreneur Sahana Baumik works in grassroots India, where one of her initiatives, Ditto, works to address the cultural stigmatization of female health and women's menstrual hygiene. Women and girls lack information and awareness of menstrual hygiene and sanitation, and as such can suffer secondary infections, poor health, and are unable to fully participate in the labour force, or for girls, unable to attend school. In India alone, it is estimated that 200 million women have a poor understanding of menstrual hygiene practices, and to make matters worse, 23% of girls in India drop out of school soon after reaching puberty. Sahana and her team work locally with communities to address these issues and ensure lasting impact for the betterment of women in those communities. They ensure women and girls can get access to quality and meaningful information, are provided with sustainable sanitary products, demystify periods, and learn about proper sanitation. Through this work, Sahana and team can empower women and girls, ensure they can get an education and prosper in a society in which they are able to fully participate, while also closing the gender inequality gap.
Driven by the desire to do more for sustainability and motivated by the lack of networking opportunities across East and Northeast India, entrepreneur Pauline decided to create an aggregate platform in 2019 to bridge this communication gap. Their network extends to over 90 organizations throughout India and the world. Throughout Y East's network, sustainability store, and their countless projects, initiatives, research studies, and educational ventures, they are combating and bringing awareness to sustainability issues. As a social enterprise, Y East has impacted approximately 12,000 people and organized over 85 projects and events. Y East exemplifies the SDG goal of partnerships, sharing the belief that working together achieves far greater results.
Sujata Chatterjee was originally in the IT sector with a degree in engineering, but upon looking at her overcrowded wardrobe and as put her clothes to a better use, she noticed the lack of active actions by organizations that combat cloth waste. Sujata is now the sole founder of Twirl, a for-profit online boutique company selling unique fashion products. Twirl combines reused and new fabrics to make clothes while donating to drives, and achieves SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, as well as reduces water usage, enacting SDG 6, clean water and sanitation. Through Twirl, Sujata has been able to create and provide opportunities for women to work, operating an only women company implementing SDG 5, gender equality. Twirl particularly provides work in rural areas where women struggle to access work generally. This further achieves SDG 10, reducing inequalities.
Lata Bhatia was growing increasingly frustrated with the amount of waste on India's streets and the huge volume of still usable resources remaining in the waste. In 2016, she began Green Legion to provide education and spread awareness on waste to the general community. After adopting a zero-waste lifestyle, Lata began sharing her practices and wanted to make it more accessible for everyone, so began Kolkata Zero Waste Bazaar to offer cheap, sustainable goods with zero waste. Lata purchases products from local disadvantaged women and sources waste material from boutiques and tailors that would otherwise be sent to landfill to create reusable party decorations that last much longer than those disposed of after only one use. Lata's positive attitude and unwavering commitment has inspired so many others to lead a zero-waste lifestyle and reduce their carbon footprint. Her work contributes to the success of SDGs 5, 10, and 12. Our case studies found that all of the 5 women were previously aware of sustainable business practices and the Sustainable Development Goals. This prior knowledge was a key motivator in creating their businesses.
To build a greater support network and strengthen engagement with present and future female entrepreneurs, Wicci could provide hands-on support for female entrepreneurs. This could be through helping companies attain funding from government, as this can be immensely time-consuming, and new companies do not have the time to dedicate towards receiving these grants. Furthermore, they could provide advertising through Wicci, which could allow greater reach for new companies and can capitalize on Wicci's broad network to help spread word of mouth and awareness. As well as forms of administration and setup assistance would also allow operations of these new companies to commence successfully. Furthermore, Wicci could provide, through advocacy to the government, lobbying for the government to broaden the focus and scope of its environmental policies and discussion of pollution, as this is generally steered by what the government chooses to focus on rather than the largest impact on our environment. Moreover, lobbying for government incentives for green practices and funding to be provided for sustainable businesses as well. Wicci could also educate future generations through targeting university and high school age women and providing guest lectures, educational sessions, and seminars, which allow women to discuss sustainable business and get inspired. Also providing a platform for collaborative ideas, networking opportunities, and education and motivation for of future entrepreneurs. Furthermore, offering internship opportunities throughout India in collaboration with partner companies of Wicci would allow further engagement with current and future entrepreneurs.
There are many factors which need to be addressed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals outlined by the United Nations. It requires a knowledge of and engagement with community stakeholders, navigating regulations or lack of, and the ability to lobby governments and institutions for change. Female entrepreneurs in India and other emerging economies face significant challenges compared to those in developed nations such as Australia. It's not an easy road for female entrepreneurs in India. They are paving a new path, driving change, and hitting hurdles of the traditional view of women. Additionally, there are many expectations on these women and the women in the communities they serve. Often, the hurdles stem from expectations of women to perform familial duties, as well as implications of belonging to a patriarchal society, which can hinder the full empowerment of women and girls. As a result of these long-held societal structures, women have comparatively more responsibilities than men, and most of those responsibilities are for unpaid work, such as caregiving duties. Women are also not encouraged or face stigma to participate in the workforce. These factors make it difficult for emerging economies to compete and limits the economic output as a result, making emerging economies less competitive than developed economies. Based on our research and after our interviews, we determined that 2 of the businesses, Sustainable Advancements and the 12 Store, are sustainable businesses, while Ditto, Y East, and Kolkata Zero Waste Bazaar are social enterprises. These women are paving the way for other women, setting high standards and being successful while following sustainable practices. They are proving that economic benefit can be achieved through sustainable practices and improve the communities they serve. With regards to the personal impact of participating in this program, it's really heartening and inspiring today to encounter people doing the right thing, not just because it's sustainable or economically efficient or because it benefits societies in emerging economies. These entrepreneurs work to do the right thing. It's a calling, a higher purpose, because doing the right thing isn't easy. It takes grit, resilience, and it literally takes a village. I'm proud to have worked on this program and to give the courageous work of these trailblazing entrepreneurs a voice through this report. It has also been a valuable experience to work effectively and efficiently with a new group of people, all that amidst a global pandemic.
I have really valued the experience I've gained completing this program. I have a much deeper understanding and appreciation of the Sustainable Development Goals and sustainable business practices. Sustainability has always been important to me, but I have gained a much broader perspective and respect for the incredible work that is being done by these women and strive to create the change they are working toward.
This has been an invaluable experience, teaching me how to communicate professionally through business reports, emails, and interviews, while also collaborating with the team and clients. Likewise, working to deadlines, preparing, conducting business research, and writing a description of female entrepreneurs with recommendations to be used for promotional material has given me a priceless opportunity to undertake industry experience, which will benefit me indefinitely for future jobs.
From this experience, I have gained interesting insights which I didn't know before. The motivational stories from all of these passionate women made me realize if there is a will to do, then you can do anything.
So I've had the opportunity to gain an insight, first-hand experience and understanding about women in business and their incredible achievements, as well as large and positive impacts, was an inspiring experience. As well, meeting, engaging with, and learning from strong, courageous, and inspiring women has been an invaluable and irreplaceable experience.
Thank you so much for your time and listening to our presentation. We have really enjoyed this experience.
Thank you for your time, guys. That was a brilliant presentation. I really like the way you've presented, and as well as your summary towards the end about what's the impact on you and what you've learned. That's probably one of the best things that I liked in your presentation. But other than that, everything was excellent as well. Now, are you open to some questions? Could we ask you some questions? Nayan and I'm sure, yeah. So
Yes, please.
I'll start with one and then give the floor to Nayan if she wants to ask a few questions. I want to ask you one question. What is the inherent difference between a sustainable business and a social enterprise?
I guess I'll take this one. So a sustainable business at its core is a business aiming to make a profit, but they conduct their business and their business practices in a sustainable way. Whereas a social enterprise isn't as concerned with profits, its main focus is to achieve a goal to benefit society, whether it's socially or environmentally.
So anybody for your team, if social enterprise is not concerned with profit, how do they run? I mean, a business needs to be making some sort of profit or at least break even to be able to run. That's a question that comes to my mind.
Social enterprises have to gain profit from their cause. So whilst they're benefiting society, they have to have a business that is economically sufficient, so that money that they gain from helping society or within their business goes back into their business to keep continuing their cause and giving out to society.
And they also rely on donations and grants where they may be available to them, much like the example Yudi pointed out in his in one of the sections where he spoke to. So that can be both a challenging and time-consuming practice to simply find these grants, submit the applications for them, and also driving donations through following your cause and other areas like that as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Nayan, now I'll let you ask some questions, please.
While you did that internship, did you find any difference between developed economy and emerging economies in terms of sustainable business?
Yeah, there were many differences we find among emerging countries and developed countries. Like the general public and the business were more aware of like sustainable businesses than in the emerging countries, and they were much more like responsible in going with doing the business as sustainably. Like we have also seen some of the laws in developed countries, they like which make their business sustainable. But we haven't seen any of the laws or that comes in regards to the to sustainable business. And like we have also seen the pressure from the general audience, like the pressure like the protests and the protests happening in like different countries about the making businesses sustainable. And like there are not like the much pressure from the emerging countries to the government to make the policies which make the businesses sustainable.
I would say as well, another difference between sustainable business practice in emerging developed economies. Of emerging economies, sustainable business practice needs to be done out of necessity because of scarcity in resources and also the requirement for people to have to manage their resources as well as possible. And so a lot of people will create their businesses around the idea that they need to manage their resources sustainably. And then if you compare that to developed economy, a lot of those countries are doing sustainable business practices kind of out of a place of comfort and the ability to choose to do it rather than being forced to do it based off what is available to them.
Right. What is if we have to ask you your greatest learning from this internship, what would that be?
I guess it's probably a little bit different for each of us. Personally, I really, really enjoyed just learning about the incredible work that is being done both within India and even looking at companies in Australia around us that are also using sustainable practices. I just found it really, really empowering to know that there are people putting in so much time and effort to achieve goals that we all need to strive toward.
I think also the other thing that was really interesting and backed by the research is that in an emerging economy, you're still able to be purpose-driven and turn a profit and be successful. Whereas the old paradigm of doing business had been for profit, purely for profit, unfortunately at the expense of the environment and the societies living within those economies. Whereas now that's really shifted, and you can see both through the entrepreneurs that we interviewed and the research that we put in as part of this project that it doesn't have to be that way. It's definitely changed my expectation and perception of doing business.
I would say for me that the opportunity to connect with so many new people, my teammates, supervisors, you, Nayan, and as well for me, the person that I interviewed, and as well my other teammates, the people that they interviewed. It's amazing to kind of understand what people's perspectives on such issues, which are really pressing, especially as we move on into the future, and global warming is constantly and rapidly becoming more and more of an issue. So being able to gain that knowledge and exposure to other people's opinions, and to kind of have a greater understanding of what people are actually doing to combat the issues that are facing humanity as a whole.
Now my last question, and this is the most important question. Whatever you have learned in the last few weeks, are you going to apply that in personal as well as professional life? So that is my question.
I think I can say that would be a yes for every single one of us. It's been very eye-opening and rewarding to discover all of this information. Whether we start with small changes in our personal lives, but I know I will be always looking for companies that I can contribute to that are doing the right thing sustainably. I won't be looking for companies that don't care about our futures.
Yeah, I agree. Especially this project's really opened my eyes up to how many businesses are doing such great things for the environment, and there's so many jobs that can help and are trying to help. So I'd like to, be in one of those companies and definitely do my part to support those companies when I'm buying and things like that, because I think it's really, really important, and we've seen just how important it is with all the global issues that are coming up.
I would say
I echo a lot of, sorry,
you go first.
I echo a lot of the comments that have already been said. And in addition to that, I think from my perspective, in terms of integrating these learnings in my daily life, is a great desire to figure out how to get involved more actively in these types of grassroots efforts in emerging economies, and find out how what I'm doing here can support them, not just through donations, but also through my time and anything else that I can do as well. I
think as well, as Casey said, everything that's already been said completely fits in with me. I think that the opportunity to learn more about sustainable business practice and having interviewed other people has given me the opportunity to kind of reflect on the things in my life that may be having an impact on the environment, and also kind of have an understanding of what I can do to provide sustainable business practice and help the environment, whether that be economically, societally, or the natural environment itself. Especially having learned about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the UN, there are so many different ways that through my personal life, my professional life, all those sort of things, that I can have an impact on the environment that I live in.
There's not a single thing which I've learned from this and this. There are like multiple things I've learned from this experience, like from the very first time management. Like in 2 weeks we had a lot of things to do with the team, and without like knowing any member, so we had to communicate with each other, compile everything and each and everything. So it was really an amazing experience for me as a time management. Other than that, and it was I felt very amazing when I learned about that companies are offering positions which are related to business, sustainable business. Like I had no expectation that there are such kind of positions which we can apply and which in future can lead us to the positions for these positions.
Thank you, because this is the most important takeaway from this internship. The internship is not about learning, but learning to apply, and that is something which you guys are going to take it forward, as you just mentioned, which makes me very, very, very happy. Thank you so much. It was amazing meeting you and interacting with you.
sorry. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity and, allowing us to work with your company and learn so much. Thank you.